Thanks, Riv. We want to welcome Crepo and Pobelter here after a victory there, which actually locks in that 7th place spot for you guys.
The dream.
Yeah, the dream. 7th, the dream. But Crepo, how does it feel, though, knowing that you have that choice when it comes to the relegation tournament?
Bittersweet. I mean, you don't want to be the team that has to choose like the second worst team to play against to keep your job. But, I mean, given starting today, like we had 8th and we could get 7th and we have 7th, so yay.
Looking at the relegations, do you guys feel confident about facing the challenger teams?
Yes, I feel pretty confident facing any of the amateur teams, really.
Okay. Crepo, same thoughts?
Yes. If
Okay.
Pobelter feels confident, I'm confident.
All right. That's a good place to be.
True support, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the picks and bans a little bit. We saw Cassidy left open, but you guys didn't lunge at it, and that's always been a big priority pick across all the splits. Why is that?
I think that Cassidy's fallen off a lot as teams get better at playing against it. Also, the W nerf and E nerf on Cassidy was kind of big, and so I think teams are starting to realize he's not like this instant first pick win anymore. There's a lot of counterplay available, and so running Cassidy and playing against it is always a risk. And so I think either team just chose not to take that risk because this match meant so much.
Yeah, and it also means like a couple bold teams just leaving it open and then seeing like, hey, actually nobody wants to play this champion. I leave it open, you guys leave it open, and then yeah, it actually has to come out of this cycle of permaban and has to be tried out a few times. And then we watched the stats as well. compLexity picked it a couple of times, but they didn't do all that well with it, so we thought it was worth the risk.
All right, and going back to picks and bans as well, you guys went with the Protect the Kog'Maw comp and just focused
Inspired by
on
CLG.
Yeah, all right. And you guys kind of focused on Altec, but Crepo, you had 100% kill participation, and you had so much map influence throughout the early, mid, and late game. Talk to me about Champions League and how you guys set yourself up to have success with that comp.
Well, yeah, Protect the Kog'Maw is pretty straightforward. Everybody's beefy, beefing up Kog'Maw, and then you speed him up, and he just reigns supreme. It's really hard to play into Gragas because full AP Gragas is basically like an 80 carry remover. He just flashes on you, ultis, and gets you. So I probably could have black shielded a little better in maybe some of the fights, but basically what ended up happening in the game is I hit a lot of binds on bottom, and that actually got me confident and got me my oil mobility boots as well. And because you're playing against an Eve, you don't need Sightstone. So instead of going the Sightstone rush with lower tier boots, you just get Moby boots, maybe Ruby Crystal, but you fill that with 1 or 2 wards and then a pink ward, and you just roam around the map and you just try and put as much pressure as you can, and it worked out for us.
Now, Pobelter, Kez is known as a fairly passive jungler. He's just at least not quite as aggressive as others. So I want to pick your brain about his early aggression. He ganked 3 times in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Well, how do you play around that, though, when a player kind of diverts from their normal playstyle? You have an assumption about that. You get into game and you start to notice that all their patterns are changing.
Well, in scrims against compLexity a few weeks ago, we would just 2v2 scrap every time, and me and Helios would always come around on top, and then the game would be really lopsided from there. So I think Kez really wanted to prevent that, and so he just kept coming around middle. And all you have to do in that case is, play safe. You don't want to give any kills, because if you don't give any kills, then that jungler is put in a worse position, and your jungler is doing more effective things around the map.
All right, I want to jump to the final fight of the game here. We're going to have a replay for you guys on your screen. This is the game-deciding moment where they try to flank around you, and Westrice doesn't really have the best ultimate here, but walk me through this, Crepo.
So yeah, basically what they want to do is try to catch us off guard and just that's good flying by Eve, but the Westrice follows up, just misses ulti, and by that time the map is so open right now that Johnny's not getting touched and he's just getting shielded. Pope's doing really good at the bottom as well. Look, he's just 1v1ing Jinx. Even if he ends up dying or Jinx is really low and he puts the Zhonya's, he draws 2 members to him, and 3 members with a missed Gragas ulti is not enough to ever kill Kog'Maw. So that's what you need to do. You need to sacrifice yourself. Prior fight as well, we got caught. I just flashed in and trying to disengage, because that's what you need to do. As long as anybody's alive, you need to die before Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw has to be the last man standing. And in these later skirmishes, he will just destroy you 1v1.
Crepo, we already mentioned how you had 100% kill participation, but I just want a fun question here. What is it like? What is that feeling of being the support that's got 5, 6 kills on him and is starting to build those high damage items and looking like an actual AP carry?
It's fun to build Zhonya's because it helps you. Morg is really hard to play as support if you don't have Zhonya's because you can flash in ulti and they'll just pop you. But having the ability to keep a couple people busy for a long time is good. As well as prior to the game, I checked my match history and it went from 0-4, 0-5, and then suddenly had these insane stats from last week. So that feels really good, and definitely helps me a lot.
I want to ask you a little bit about that, because when the kills go on the support, is it just better to rush that? Or if you're in a Kog'Maw composition like that, would it have been a little better for Altec to have them, or was it perfect?
I don't know, honestly. I think Altec was in a really good spot in the game. I don't think support should strive towards having 6 kills in a game.
That's not the goal. Don't go out and steal all the kills.
Don't do that. So, I don't know. Like, I used my gold. I think I used my gold as efficient as I could. I don't think Mikhail's would have been a better option here. I think Zhonya's definitely was after I got the early Negatron, so I could just play beefy up front. Because in Protect the Kog'Maw comps, you don't really have really big tanks. So having support and jungler kind of combined to become this one tank is a good thing to have.
All right, final question, Pobelter. You guys have already locked in that 7th place spot, but you still have a game to play later today against LMQ. Is it time to play spoiler or just have some fun with that last match?
I think that match is still important to decide who ends up in first place, you know, whether it's C9 or LMQ, so we're not going to like troll away the match or anything. We'll still try our best and go for that 4-0 Super Week.
Awesome. I love to hear that. Anyway, guys, congratulations on the win. Best of luck in the match later today. Now we're going to take a quick break while we prep the Rift for our next match, Dignitas versus LMQ. Don't go anywhere. The action continues in just 3.5.